See that? I told you I came right back. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. Now we're in chapter 3 of Joel. That was verse 7. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabaeans, to a people far off, for the Lord hath spoken it. Everything that these people did to Jerusalem, it's like that old saying, what goes around comes around. Here it comes, baby. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Oh my God. I talked for an hour and I hurt. Assemble yourselves, and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But the Lord will be the hope of his people, and the strength of the children of Israel. So shall ye know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her any more. And then he blesses the church. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters. And a fountain shall come forth of the house of the Lord, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. Oh man. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. God saves all of his people. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for the Lord dwelleth in Zion. God is going to be there, and he's going to clean up the act of everybody. Now, the people that survive and make it through are the ones that repent. They turn from their sin. Look at that hair I got growing right up there on my lip. I got hair growing everywhere. The people that make it are living the right way. They got joy and happiness. They got enough food, they got enough water, and they worship God. Those are the people that are going to succeed. Now, I'm going to talk about something else here. I'm going into the book of Genesis. Let me see. Turning the page. I'm going to start the book of Genesis. That's the first book. I'm going to go to chapter 18. Now I read this before, but I got to talk about it again right now because I want to talk about the hedge or the circle of protection around whether it's a country or a state, a city, or an individual home, or just a few people. It's real. I'm going to give you some evidence of this right here. This is chapter 18, Genesis. Remember, we're entering right into the middle of a story. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happened that led up to this, okay? We're going to talk about Abraham. And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. I guess maybe there was a... Oh, nuts. Oh. I hope I can finish this tonight. This is Abraham. He's in the plains of Mamre. Hey, I don't know where that's at. It's in here, though. I could look it up if I wanted to, but I don't need to. Now, Abraham, he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground. Why did Abraham... Now, he was a rich guy. He had a lot of people. He had some strong people that could fight. He had lots of cattle and sheep and oxen and all that kind of stuff. He saw these 3 men, and he ran and bowed down to them. Why? If you saw someone and recognized that it was an angel or even the Lord, you would do the same thing. But you have to have that renewing of your mind. You can't be spiritually blind. And that's what we are until we're born again. We're spiritually blind. We can't recognize. Saul, whose name was changed to Paul, met Jesus on the road. And he didn't know who he was. And Saul was a king cheese in the church. He met Jesus and he didn't recognize him. There's a lot of people that didn't recognize him. You need to pay attention. Listen to this stuff. He bowed himself toward the ground and said, "My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant." Hold up, he's saying. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. Now, back in these days, These guys weren't walking around with combat boots on and Adidas sneakers and Nikes and stuff like that. They made shoes out of leather, cloth, different things. And they're walking everywhere. They don't have nice pickup trucks like I got. They're walking in the dirt, the rocks, and the mud, and everything else. And their feet take a beating. So when they sit down somewhere and they're able to put their feet in some nice cool water and clean them up, that's like joy to them. Here's Abraham saying, you guys sit here and I'll wash your feet. I will wash your feet for you. And I will fetch a morsel of bread and comfort ye your hearts. After that ye shall pass on. For therefore are ye come to your servant. For therefore are ye come to your servant. In other words, you came to me so that I could minister to you. Now God says, of the angels, are they not all ministering spirits for us? I'm going to talk about angels in a couple of minutes when I get to it. This is exciting. And they said, so do, as thou hast said. Go ahead and do all that stuff. And Abraham hastened into the tent unto Sarah and said, make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal. Knead it and make cakes upon the hearth. He's going to cook them some grub. And Abraham ran unto the herd. This guy's booking. And fetched a calf, tender and good, the best piece of meat he could find, and gave it unto a young man, and he hasted to dress it. And he took butter and milk and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. Abraham, and I know he's feeding 2 angels, because we're going to talk about that. There was 3 men here. And what did he call them? He said, my Lord. Who was the third one? Abraham called him Lord. Wow. And they said unto him, where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him. Now listen to this. In stories leading up to this, you read that Sarah was barren and she didn't have any kids. Now, when God said this to her, or about her, she's like 90 years old. She ain't having her period no more, none of that stuff. And God says, she's going to have a son. Not just a baby, but he said it's going to be a son. Now, Abraham and Sarah were old, and well stricken in age. And it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. She didn't have a period. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? Now she's talking about Abraham here. Abraham being old also, she calls him Lord. And the Lord, now this is the Lord with the capital L, said unto Abraham, Wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I of a surety bear a child which am old? Now she said that inside her. And here's the Lord telling Abraham what she said. God looks on the heart. You understand that? He knows what comes from your heart, the inside. She didn't say it outward, she said it inside. And God repeated it. There's plenty of places in this book where God explains himself. And here's proof. It's evidence right here in these couple of chapters that I'm going to read. Trying to get this put in your head. Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. Oh. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laughed not, for she was afraid. And he said, Nay, but thou didst laugh. And the men rose up from thence and looked towards Sodom. And Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. Oh man, you have to get on the right track. Boy, the future is going to be so great. My wife is already resting, waiting for that day. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, and do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. He's telling Abraham, I'm going to do it. And the Lord said, Because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me. And if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from thence and went towards Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the Lord. This guy's bold. All right, I got to pause this. No, I got to knock this one off and come back with another one. So I'm in Genesis 18, and I'm up to verse 23. Hold on to yourself. I'll be right back.